everybody, welcome back to the Dice Tower. My name is Z Garcia.
And I'm Joy Evans.
Today we're taking a look at this right here called Thunder Road Vendetta Part 5, the Carnival of Chaos.
Chaos.
It's an expansion, the fifth one apparently, to Thunder Road Vendetta. And this is going to give you a new way to play the game.
It is.
It takes the game, it flips it on its head a little bit. It kind of gives you a demolition derby, whereas the game before was a race. Certainly a smashing kind of race.
Right,
you know,
chaos.
a lot of throwing people up against walls and whatnot. But this is no longer even a race. That pretense is fully gone. You are now just smacking each other around so that you can get coins, victory points, basically scrap from the people you destroy in the game.
Right.
Let's go ahead and give a quick overview of what's going on in it, show you, we'll come on back, we'll tell you what we think of it. So here we're jumping in after a game is actually finished. A game was just played, it just ended, and we are jumping into it like this because I think it's appropriate to the amount of chaos you're going to experience with this game, and it'll help me show you a couple of things. So the way the game works when you are playing with this arena is you're going to have the cars coming in from these areas, and everybody has to enter one card in each of these three lanes. So my large one over there, maybe my small one over here, my medium one over here. Once they're in the arena, then they are going to move a little differently. The vehicle, when they move, they can go anywhere in their front arc, so I can move in here like this, I could turn and go in here like this, or I could turn and go in here like this. If I land on a vehicle, I line that vehicle up, and I'm going to slam into it. So I would roll the dice and do the same thing you expect to happen, slamming. Now these locations right here, there's a few of these. They are pillars, and they begin face down, but some cards are going to turn these pillars face up. They become impassable, and in fact, if a vehicle was on it, when it flips up, that thing gets crushed up against the ceiling of this arena, right? That's the idea. So that is one of the things that's going to be happening in the game, is you're in here running around a little more demolition style, shooting each other, pushing each other into these pillars. There's also these locations here that are spotlights, and they're going to afford you, if you end a round there, then Tina, Turbo Tina here, the star of the show, this is her arena, she's going to award you some bonus scrap. What is scrap? Well, this is scrap over here. And scrap is the thing you're going for. This is your objective. You're going to get 2 scrap every time you hurt somebody else. You're going to get 3 scrap if you eliminate another vehicle. And she's going to award you some bonus scrap, like I said. You'll also notice that all of the hazards on the table have been changed out for these party favors. So they're printed here, party favors, but they also begin here on the track. So anywhere on the track that would normally have a hazard, you get a party favor instead. And if you end on that spot, then you get to pick up that party favor. They're going to give you some bonus ability you can use, or maybe even bonus scrap that you'll reveal at the end of the game. The game's over when somebody is fully eliminated. You'll finish out the round, or after we run out of Turbo Tina's cards. You set 5 cards there. So once everyone's done, then we're going to flip over one of her cards, such as this one right here. Anybody standing in a spotlight is going to get some scrap. Some pillars are going to trigger, and every other pillar goes down, those come up. And then some active decree is in play. This one, for example, says you cannot use your airstrike command. Some of them say you can't re-roll when you slam. Some say when you slam, people move farther. All sorts of crazy stuff is going to happen. There's also, on the board, these locations right here, they begin with a token on them. And when you take that token, which are these right here, if you end on that spot, you'll remove the token and you get a super weapon assigned to that vehicle. And these also do all sorts of things. So here's an energizer. When you shoot and hit with this car, you re-roll your movement die and immediately take another turn with this car. You've got here the heat-seeking missiles. When this car shoots, you always treat the thing you're shooting at as though it's large. So you're gonna hit more frequently. You got the big friendly gun here. When this car shoots and hits, the target takes an extra face down damage. Very nasty. Laser kebab, an amplifier, cluster missiles, all sorts of things are going to be happening there. And so there's going to be a decent amount of chaos in here, but also a decent amount of calculating, maneuvering where you want to end up. You don't want to end up on a pillar. You want to still maneuver and shoot other players. The helicopters will still be in play, so you'll be placing and shooting with them. But the motion, the driving is the main thing you have to wrap your head around, where you can now drive into your front arc, and as you do so, you will reposition your vehicle to face the way you just came in. Most other things are going to stay the same. Your movement, rolling a pool of dice, and then assigning one die to each vehicle. That all pretty much works the same way. But now you've got, of course, all these new things that you are doing. And the objective, ultimately, is not to win some kind of race. It is to get as much scrap as possible. Every player also begins with one of these Witness Me cards. And you can play that at the beginning of a turn. And every time you shoot or slam that turn, you get a little bonus scrap. And then this is gone. You can do that one time, so everybody has that whenever they're ready to use it. Whenever you think you'll be able to make the most usage out of it, then you can play that card. But that is the idea for the expansion. This is also right here double-sided. There's another board on the other side with a little harder of a side. This is the one they recommend you start with. So there you go. That is what's happening in the game. Let's go ahead and go back up top. So this is one that I have to say, I have to admit, I was a little apprehensive when I heard kind of what it was doing. Because all the other expansions to this game have, they've swung for the fences, certainly, but this is like something else entirely.
I like how you say other expansions, like they all came out like, it was part 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes, that's fair.
So this is like the newest, yeah.
Yeah, this is the only one that was kind of after the original wave of the crowdfunding. Though to be fair, some of those then slowly came out as expansions.
You're right.
So, but they were available originally. But many of those, they add neat stuff, right? Oh, here's a big rig. You're driving a truck now, or you have a bunch of bikes, or you do away with the dice entirely and you play these little cards instead. And there's all sorts of funky stuff. But none of them change the idea of the game. This does.
It really does. For good and bad, I think.
Yeah, and it was interesting because this last time we played, afterwards, I thought to myself, I'm ready to review this because I have very clear positives and very clear negatives. The negatives are smaller than the positives. I do like this, but they are clear to me is my point. And I like going into a review feeling that way, feeling very specific about what I liked and what I didn't like. So let's jump into the things I liked, and maybe you like these, maybe you didn't, okay? The arena, the setting, the whole crazy Tina's blow 'em up style, the spotlight, the weapons, the crazy stuff you get into is really fun.
I agree. I like the weapons, of course, are just insane. Little Sammy...
Sammy's good. Blow up a helicopter.
The laser thing.
Yeah, the shish kebab laser kebab thing. The thwomper, was it? There's a lot of fun injected into this. All the weapons you can pick up. The changing arena with the pillars. The trying to shove somebody into a pillar and then playing one of those little balloon gives that smashes them. I like that all the things on the board now, or I guess not all the things, but all the what used to be hazards are now things you want to go grab.
They are, and that's different.
That's
too. I
fun
like that.
And it's different. Yes,
I do like a couple of things. One thing I like, Tina brings in all of her like different variations for each round. I think that adds. I like that a lot.
I like that a lot.
I wish that could be in the other game as well. Mm-hmm. In the one thing I do like, this is kind of gotten rid of. I like and I hate the choke points in actual Thunder Road. Because you'll get to those choke points, and those once you're in the arena, that's not as big of an issue. I mean, turning around is an issue, but the choke points are gone. The choke points where you're going to lose 80% of people.
Sure. There's a little bit of that can be created with the pillars, especially in the center.
Right, yes.
If like A, B, and C pillars, which are all the ones in the middle, if they're all up, it becomes a little tricky to navigate that area, right? But you're right, it does not happen as much. The focus of the game has shifted, right?
It has, big time.
It is now just not the same game. Is that good? Is that bad? Well, it's neither necessarily. It's just different, and you need to know that going into it. If you're just wanting something else for Thunder Road Vendetta, I don't know if that's what this is.
It's not.
This is a different game using Thunder Road Vendetta pieces, and from that point of view, it reminds me very much of another product from the same company, in fact, and that is Unmatched Adventures. Okay? Unmatched Adventures uses Unmatched in a different game. In a very interesting way, in a tremendous way, in fact, but therein lies a couple of little nitpicky issues because it was not made Unmatched to be played in Unmatched Adventures. And in here, you run into some small issues like that as well.
Yeah.
The movement, you have to wrap your head around a new way to move. And when you get... oh my goodness. I'm getting choked up, Joe.
It's such a good game.
I'm so sad. When you get hit and moved... You have to visualize that differently.
Right.
There's all of this stuff that you have to kind of adapt to a new game a little bit. Not everything is a one-to-one translation. Kind of like an Unmatched Adventures. That's not bad. It's just not the same game. I don't necessarily think everyone who likes Unmatched will like Unmatched Adventures, and I think the same here.
I agree. I think... Man, it's because you don't feel like it was like the battle was a byproduct in the race before.
Yes.
Now it's the main event.
Yes, that's a good way to put that. Yes.
So it's like before you would obviously if you could pass somebody or you could hit them, and you'd hit them a lot. But here, that's all that it's about is a scrap.
Right.
Yeah,
before you were hitting somebody to slow them down.
Right. Yes.
There's a means to an end.
Yep.
Here, the means is the end. You're hitting them to get scrap. So a couple of things I did not like about the game is that there's a couple of nitpicky rules that you have to sort of be like, wait, how does this work now in this weird new mode of movement? The scrap is very easy to forget to grab scrap because we're not used to it.
No.
Because in the game, you smack somebody, you toss them into a wall, or they hit an oil slick, and you go, ha ha, and then you move on. In this, you have to remember to take the scrap, because that's your points. It's victory points. There's also now you're not thinking in sort of the same dimensions, so the game becomes a little more puzzly as you stop and go, okay, well, I want to kind of get over there. It's like a miniatures game now. You have to path build a little bit.
You're right, because you do find... Yeah. So you're trying to really, not AP, but you are thinking a lot more.
Yeah, it's not about the paralysis. It's more like, it's like moving miniatures in a miniatures game. You're going, okay, well, how do I get over there? In normal Thunder Road, I don't have to think about behind my car, ever. I can fully ignore that. I can't go backwards. In this, I might turn my car around and come back to pick up a weapon or stand in a spotlight or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So you have to think in many different dimensions, and that's interesting, but it can be a little more mathy and a little slower to do that,
I agree, yeah, and that's what it does. And also, one thing that some negatives for me, the pillars I think are really cool. When you can bump somebody, they hit on that pillar, you can throw that card, that's that thematic. It's like, boom, I just crushed you.
Right.
I don't think it has as many wow moments as Thunder Road. Because, I remember back at Thunder Road when you're on fire and you hit that ramp and you're like, I'm going to make that. I don't think this has as many moments as those.
To be fair, all the fire and ramp, both of those things you mentioned, are from expansions.
They are. Yeah.
So there is that to be considered,
yes.
Right? But I understand what you mean about it being maybe a little less cinematic. Mm-hmm. It does not feel like, opening up the throttle down a highway. This is Demolition Derby, and
Twisted Metal. Yeah,
it's a little more Twisted Metal.
Yeah,
and so it feels a little bit different. I think the Tina cards do help with that sort of cinematic nature of it, and I think the weapons really help with that because those weapons are fantastic. They're really always fun. The tokens you pick up from the board, those are fun. But yes, there is a little bit of a different vibe and feel, you know? Overall, I really like this expansion. I think it's a winner. I just don't... It's not one that I can throw in there and forget about.
No.
It's not like that expansion with extra tracks and fire and ramps.
Those are seamless.
That you can just put in because it becomes part of the game. This is a different game that uses some of the same ideas. Is it a good game, this new game? Yes, it is. It's just different, and you won't always be in the mood for this. I don't know if everyone who... I don't think everybody who likes Thunder Road Vendetta will necessarily like Carnival of Chaos.
Right.
Now, I don't think anybody who doesn't like Thunder Road Vendetta is going to like Carnival of Chaos.
Yeah, this will not change your mind.
I don't think so. You know what I mean?
Right.
But, so I'm not saying that, but it's not necessarily something you'll like. I like, so I'm going to give you my rating of it. I'm coming down at an 8 on this one. And the reason it gets that score is because, again, it's not the kind of expansion that, for me, always excites me. This is one that I'll be happy to play with sometimes when I want to mix it up.
Right.
When I want to do something kooky and I want to, like, you know, again, see those crazy weapons, and I'm okay with the game becoming about points and not a race. I want to play a points game tonight. Then I'll play Carnival of Chaos.
Yeah.
It's not about opening up the throttle, go down the highway, and seeing what happens, you know? They're not the same thing.
It's actually, I'm coming in right at an 8 as well, because I do like this. I think the original Thunder Road for me is a 9.5 or a 10. But I love it. But again, it changes the game.
I also rate the original game higher, yes.
Yeah, so it's like, but again, I love the super weapons. I love the different variations in the rounds, all that. But again, I don't know how often I'd play this over the original Thunder Road. I do know people that like that. If you just want chaos and just battle, this is the way to go. You know,
Yeah.
but it is a different game.
Yeah, this is not necessarily something I carte blanche recommend. If Thunder Road Vendetta is getting stale
Right.
and you want more, this might be that, but it might not be, is the point.
Yep.
So there you go, everybody. Carnival of Chaos. Hey, we both like it. It makes for a fun session. It just makes for a slightly slower, thinkier one, and one driven by victory points, i.e. scraps, as opposed to I'm crossing the finish line.
Right.
So there you go. That is Carnival of Chaos. 8 out of 10s. Is that the right way to say it? 8 out of 10s.
8 out of 10s.
And that is a seal of approval, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in and checking this one out with us. My name is Z Garcia.
And I'm Joy Evans.
Watch out for Tina's crazy party balloons of destruction and death.
I'm driving.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vassell.